if we are adding drapery or clothing to things, um, we've got, I've got a torso here, and this is going to be a female. So I've got it looking kind of like a person with a dress, almost a bell shape, uh, ding 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 sort of thing. So as I'm thinking, I want a knee coming out of this side, I think. So to add that, I'm going to take a small little coil. And I want it to look like there's a knee under the dress, pushing the dress out as the person's standing there. So in order to do that, I just have to add some material that makes it look like there's something under the dress. And then we blend it in to stay as part of the form. That's gonna be much bigger than I need it. So I just keep trimming it down. I'm gonna leave one side. There we go. Even more. Got to think of the height of this person. How wide are their legs? They're not going to be that wide. All right, so this should be able to do it for me. Make a nice triangle. So it was a coil. It's now kind of a triangle, so that when I put it on, it's going to look like this. Forward and slip. I usually have the thicker side, if there is one, which I do have a thicker side. I usually have that go up to the top because it's going to end up looking more like a thigh than what's normally just gravity pulling down on the dress the rest of the way. All right, I do want this to just continue into the rest of the dress because it's just the fabric being pushed out by some object underneath. So we've got the basic idea of the shape. I don't want to lose that basic idea of the shape, but I do need this to blend into the rest of my dress. I'm smoothing everything to be as perfect as I can. All right, now if you look at fabric, normally there's going to be some poles that streak out this way, so I'm going to go ahead. I can actually use some of these still. I need to add the material before I can make it look like the dress is pulling. I want to go up to the point where the knee would be breaking from it, and then we flatten this out a bunch into the dress. It takes some of the extra material away if I have too much. And now at least on one side, the knee's not only just coming out, but then the fabric is draping around it. And you know what? With this section here, I don't even need to add more there. I can just go ahead and use this as another arch to my advantage. Now I'm going to soften all this up. This will start to look like, almost like she's taking a step sideways because the gesturing of the dress tells us some motion. Like she's twisting and moving off in that direction. A lot of times people don't realize how easy it is to make fabric or clothing. So I'm going to go ahead and take my pencil. I'm going to establish, it's basically where I want the edging to go. And then I think she's going to have a belt. And from there, I want things to drape. So I'm going to have things coming down. It gets wider as it goes down because it's all pinched together up here. All right, now I can start to follow that draping pattern. And if there is anything like here, it's going to come down, it's going to go over our object and then down over there. So it's starting to look like it's up and over. At this point, I'm going to roll a couple coils. Small coils, they don't need to be very big. I'm going to add a bunch of slip without destroying too much of my lines. And then I'm going to start placing this down. The idea of fabric, I'm going to follow the line that I had over to that way. Tear it off. The idea of fabric is that where there's a fold, let's see if I can get a fold in here. Can't do it with my shirt. Whenever there's a fold, it means that one area goes over another. So we have this general transition up and then boom, this sharp edge. And then the fabric will continue on. So we want to try to make it look like there's that fold. So I'm going to, if I have gravity pulling down this way, it means it's going to hang over what's under it. So I'm going to pull the dress up this way. Let me see, we're starting to establish. Fabric is not very thick, so if this is super bulgy, we can flatten it out and make it a much, much thinner. All right, I'm going to take another one. I'm just going to keep working my way down. Comes another off of the same area. Okay, that, and now I got to be careful to blend this in up to the one before it. And then I would have to establish my belt and everything else up here to make it look more natural. Hit this with a sponge to soften it up. And we are starting to get some nice draping going on. See how that works out? See if you can see that. And that's how we make a dress. Other than that, it's the same coil principles as everything else when we were working with Modern Heroes. Let's get one more on here just for good measure and fun. I'll put this one over here. This one I want it to come over and then down. We're even starting to get more layers going on. That's great. And one more, because I think to finish it off it'll be more balanced. I'll even mix you up with that. I'm making this one a little extra swoopy so it looks like it's flowing even more than the one before it, because I want it to. As I continued with this, I would just keep adding this wherever I wanted these folds and these drapes to go. I'm starting to get this really beautiful design going on. Okay, let's see. All right, so I've created what's going to become a woman's face. Smooth out the forehead. Establish a general idea where my eye sockets go, where my nose will be. And I've got the chin pulled out a little bit. All right, I have my basic torso shape here. Which, if you're not sure how to make the torso shape, you can watch Making a Torso. This is just the female version, so things are daintier. Now, one thing women have, usually a lot of, in these sculptures, would be long hair. Not that you have to include it, but if you wanted to, long hair is just, we add material and then shape it like everything else. So I'm literally going to create a tiny little pinch pot that's going to become this wig that I put onto my Greek goddess here. This always makes me think of like Revolutionary Day, George Washington and all those upstanding gentlemen would wear those long, flowing, curly white wigs. So I always feel like I'm making. That's just me though. All right. We have to be very careful when getting this on because we don't want to damage the neck and the head, knock it off, but we also have to make sure that all the air gets out. So when I put this on, I'm going to carefully rest it on and then press from the middle first, then work my way around so that it fuses all the way around. Nice. All right, now I'm going to literally move it into place, pressing it where I want it to be, smoothing it out. Cool. I don't want to blend it into the face too much because we don't want to lose the fact that it's hair and different. Okay, at this point we need to make it look like hair. So I'm going to establish a part if you want to. And then I'm going to start doing lines through it, kind of thick, to establish any flow that I want. We can get more flowy, we can get multiple lines going over each other. This way I wanted to come down here. All right, now this doesn't look amazing yet because it's just the beginning. We then soften all this up and take a sponge to it all, smooth it out. Got to support my head so I don't break it off as I do this because that would be bad. Whoop. Okay. Now we've got those thicker parts of the massy flowing hair, and I can go through and do something that gives it much more delicate detail, whether it be sliding gently. I can use something like this and much more lightly and gently add a bunch more lines to this just to make it look more natural. Okay. And we start to get what would look like nice hair.